Namaste, good afternoon, and a very warm welcome to the first live session for our course on Microeconomics for Beginners. This course has been developed by Symbiosis Center for Management Studies, Pune, Symbiosis International Deemed University, and launched on Swayam. This course has been developed by Dr. Adya Sharma, Director, SCMS Pune, Dr. Sonika Rotela, Dr. Vijay Prakash Mishra, Dr. Puneet Mishra, and Dr. Neha Joon Panakal. Today, we have a very special guest with us, Dr. Ishita Dutt, who is an expert faculty on economics, and ma'am is here to give us some more insights on week 1 and week 2.
Hello learners, Namaste. Welcome to the session. We will discuss more when Dr. Neha asks me question and maybe some are there in the discussion forum. We'll discuss about it. Okay? Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, Dr. Ishita, for joining us today. And our learners are very excited to learn from you.
Thank you, Dr. Neha.
All right. So what we've planned for the first live session is we look at what was covered in week 1 and week 2. Then we look at some important concepts where Dr. Ishita will shed more light on those concepts. We look at the discussion forum activities, and then we've also received a few queries from our learners. We'll address those queries towards the end of the session. So when we look at what was covered in the weeks, in week 1, what we have learned is the basic introduction to economics. We also spoke about the nature and scope of economics. We looked at the concept of production possibility curve. We discussed a lot of concepts around the production possibility curve, under which we also looked at concepts like trade-off, opportunity cost. We looked at concepts like the shape of the production possibility curve, why is it concave? We looked at the basic questions in economics, and we looked at positive and normative economics. So this was what our learners went through in week 1. In week 2, we moved on to the concept of utility, and we had a lot of discussion on what is utility, why is it important to study this. We looked at 2 approaches to utility: the cardinal approach to utility, under which we study the law of diminishing marginal utility, and we looked at the ordinal approach to utility, under which we looked at the indifference curve analysis, budget line, consumer equilibrium. So now what we're going to do is we have Dr. Ishita with us, and we're going to quickly look at some important concepts related to what we studied in week 1 and week 2. So Dr. Ishita, let's get started with the concepts that we want to look at. Let's look at the first concept called as scarcity. So can you throw some light on scarcity?
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Neha, for this question. Scarcity. What do we mean by scarcity? Anything in this world which is scarce. Now, scarce is what it means, that the demand for the commodity, or it may be some kind of services, some goods, is more than the availability of that good or availability of that service. So automatically that is scarce in nature. So scarcity, definitely what happens, scarcity limits the choice. Scarcity, anything like, for example, gold. Gold is scarce, so the value of the gold is high. Anything scarce, also we can say nowadays clean water. Water is scarce. You will see in Delhi, sometimes if you are from that region, the trucks come, the water tankers, and so many people are expecting to get that clean water. So hygiene is something which is scarce. So anything which you don't find it so easily, things which you really have to look for, like how can we get it, and that is scarce. And Dr. Neha, you were asking about choice also.
Perfect. So that's very beautifully explained. And I think that's important to understand our next few concepts as well. So let's take up choice, trade-off, and opportunity cost together. So Dr. Ishita, if you can just help us understand these 3 concepts.
Okay. So at the scarcity, when we explain the scarcity, as I was giving you the example of diamond, or I was giving you the example of gold, similarly it goes with diamond. Similarly, now we see it goes with clean water. Now the choice actually comes from scarcity, because the things are scarce. Sometimes getting it is basically to do everything. It has to go with human want.
True.
Human want, and because of that only scarcity. When I'm talking about gold, human want, we want to show off or we want to think it as an asset, so we call it scarce.
True.
Diamond, it is scarce. So the characteristics of human life actually boils down to unlimited wants. We are never ever
That
satisfied
is
with
very true.
whatever we have. Like if we have a two-wheeler, we would go for cars. If we have one car, maybe two cars. If we have a small flat, a bigger flat. So the wants are unlimited, but we have to live within our means.
Yes.
Resources are scarce, and every resource has an alternative use also. So that's the reason scarcity, and the problem of choice comes from the wants, human wants. And there is always a difference in urgency. What happens is how the choice is. Let's say, for example, a man is there who is earning decent salary and he keeps money maybe for his daughter's marriage. Daughter is marriageable. At the same time, his son is studying something and he wants to go abroad. Now he had saved money for his daughter's marriage. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, when it is daughter's marriage, he had actually it may be decent enough, but it may not be huge money. What happens now? The son comes. He had given some exams and he wants to go abroad, but he is not entitled for any sponsorship, scholarship, etc. Now the person is in fix.
Yes.
What to do? Should he get his daughter married, because at the same time he gets a very nice groom for his daughter, and the son wants to go abroad and he had done a lot of hard work to go. Now there's a problem of choice between the two, because he doesn't have so much saving that he can get his daughter married at the same time his son also going abroad. So he can either take loan. Let's say, for example, he can't take so much loan. He has loans for his flat or for other things. Now what to do? Then there is a choice. He will see what is more urgent.
True.
Urgency can come in any way. Maybe there's a sick parent at home and the choice between the son going abroad. He has to take a decision.
Yes.
This decision is something, it's a trade.
Okay.
Okay, so he can't have both the things together. So scarcity of resources is a problem, and that leads to choice. And basically, you have to make a trade-off between two things.
Right.
What you would like to do. So in that case, he may think that he will not lose this particular groom with whom his daughter can get married. At the same time, he is making some other person unhappy. The son who had taken so much of hardship to go abroad. And you must have seen such things like, for Indian Idol, I was seeing that many people came to say that my father didn't have enough money, but they want lot of expectation on me, because my brother said I will give a drop here so that the sister can come up in this Indian Idol as a winner. So this is the trade-off.
Perfect. Okay. And then what is opportunity cost?
It is the cost of the next best alternative, which is foregone. Now, what is foregone? I'll give you two, three examples, Dr. Neha.
Sure.
This is especially the students, if you are a learner, if you are a student and you are looking for a job. Now, at the end of your sessions, whatever you are studying, after that, you have got jobs like in two sectors. Maybe you are in the education sector, as well as you have done something, you are getting a job as a journalist. Now, when you have taken, and you had a very good aptitude for journalism, at the same time, you always wanted, you have seen yourself maybe few years down the line as a great professor, you come to know, it's a learned person. So now, at both the jobs came to you at the same time after your graduation, graduation, you can't be at this kind of stature. after your post graduation, maybe, or maybe you had done some other courses, and then your salary is very close by. Maybe one of the jobs, the journalist job, is giving you 75,000 rupees per month, and the faculty, you are in this faculty position and you are getting 70,000 rupees. What you do, always you felt, okay, I want to become a professor, but anyway, the journalist is, as a journalist, I am getting 5,000 more rupees per month. So which again you calculate, you do your calculation, 12 months, so 5,000 into 12. So again it becomes maybe 60,000, maybe it's a huge amount for you at this moment, and you take up the job of that journalist and you are getting paid. But what you lose on the bargain, you lose the job of a faculty. And later on, you may regret, because you may see one of your friends who became a faculty who is growing high in the ladder. And you would always say, I would have become like that, and maybe now I would have, maybe that person is getting much higher salary. So that is an opportunity cost for you, because you have taken the job of a journalist. You sacrificed what? You sacrificed the job of a faculty. This is one aspect. Similarly, I can give you more examples,
Sure.
Dr. Neha.
Yeah,
Should I
let's
give
take one.
Yeah. So this is, for example, you are staying in a hostel, and or you are staying in an apartment and you are studying. You are going to your institutes to study. At the same time, now the thing is that you have got so many things to do. You have to come to college. You have to come in time. Otherwise, you miss out on the lectures, your attendance, and so many other activities. Now, typically, your maid servant comes late and your things are it is not managed. Now, with your whatever pocket money you had, you have to decide between a washing machine or a dishwashing machine. So let's say, for example, your washing machine is for, and you have, you whatever from your savings you have, let's say, for example, you have 25,000 rupees. Now, with some discounts, you are getting your washing machine for 24,000 rupees, a washing machine again for 23,500 rupees. Now, you can't have both, because you can't ask for more money. Again, a prestige issue. You are the one who will not ask from your parents. Then you have to decide between the two. And what you did is you bought a washing machine to wash your clothes. What was the opportunity cost for you? That dishwashing machine, which you didn't buy for 23,500, and you have to use your own hands to clean the dishes if your maid didn't come. So this is the opportunity
Great,
cost.
excellent. Thank you so much, Dr. Ishita. This was very beautifully explained in a language that our learners would easily be able to relate to. Learners, just a reminder that our Google form is still active. If you have any questions for us, please post it in the Google form. We will take it up in this live session. Okay, so let's move on and let's talk about two other interesting concepts: marginal rate of substitution and consumer equilibrium. So Ishita ma'am, if you can just help us understand these as well.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Neha. The marginal rate of substitution comes from the indifference curve approach. I think you people have learned about indifference curves. Indifference curve is basically, it is the locus of points where each point gives you the same level of satisfaction. For example, we will take two goods, which is for you, which gives you equal level of satisfaction, but the combination may vary. So normally we have this curve. You have learned about the curve. Now what happens? For example, we are having y-axis and x-axis. Now in y-axis, let's say y-axis is for pastries, x-axis is for chocolates. So we can have different combinations of pastries and chocolates, which will give you equal level of satisfaction. Now what happens in the case of marginal rate of substitution? It is the willingness of the consumer to replace one good for the other good, and like the good which you are sacrificing, you should have the new good more. Let's say, for example, now your pastries are coming down. You are having y-axis is pastries. Marginal rate of substitution of x for y, that is, you are substituting chocolates for pastries. So definitely you are increasing the number of chocolate pieces, chocolate slices, or
Yes.
maybe the chocolate, the bigger ones. So you are sacrificing your pastries. So, but you have to be in the same indifference curves.
Yeah.
So that will determine your marginal rate of substitution in the same indifference curve. I hope this concept
This makes
is clear.
sense. Yes, yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Now, what is the consumer equilibrium? Consumer equilibrium is the consumer, we are the consumers.
Yes.
Now, I was talking about the indifference curves, and you all must be knowing indifference curves is higher you go, parallelly higher. That means you can buy more of the chocolates and more of the pastries.
Yes.
So anybody of your age, even at my age, I would definitely would like to reach the highest indifference curves. The more the chocolates, more pastries, it's always best for me. The best you will be the highest indifference curves. So we may have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Problem is what? Problem is the budget.
Mhm.
Now, what is the budget here? Budget has nothing to do with the union budget. It's the budget is my budget. Budget is what your parents have given you as pocket money. So you know you can spend, let's say, 500 rupees only with different combinations of chocolates and pastries. But what does the thing which you would like to achieve, you would like to go much beyond your budget. Maybe 500 rupees is very less for you. You would want to have the combinations of chocolates and pastries which is worth 700 rupees. But Dr. Neha, is it possible?
No, because
It's not possible, because your parents have said only 500 rupees, and we assume you people are very good. You are not going to borrow and steal from anybody. So 500 rupees is your budget. So you have to remain in the indifference curve, which is tangent to your budget line. That is 500 rupees is the maximum limit. You can go to 490 rupees, you can go to 480 rupees, but that, again, your money is underutilized.
Yes.
So when you are coming to the optimum level, that is the full money is exhausted, you reach your equilibrium. So the consumer has reached the equilibrium
Excellent.
with the budget line. I hope this concept is clear.
Perfect. I think the example was apt, and I think our learners have been able to understand this bit better. All right.
Thank you, Dr. Neha.
Great. So these were a few important concepts from week 1 and week 2. We also had 2 discussion forum activities for you. In the first discussion forum activity for week 1, we asked the learners to look at 2 positive and 2 normative statements. We also asked you to go through your peers' answers and post your comment regarding the submission. Learners who've still not completed it, you can still go back and complete this discussion forum activity. In week 2, we asked you to look at a very important concept of LDMU. We asked you to think about and mention a practical significance of LDMU. At the same time, we also asked you to comment on 2 peers' contribution, one where you agree with your peer and the other where you disagree with the peer, and justify the reason. We have looked at your discussion forum replies, and we're very happy to see the amount of discussions that have taken place. We would encourage learners who've still not participated to please go back to week 1, week 2 discussion and put in your answers out there. This would help to understand whether you've really understood what the contents of week 1 and week 2 as well. Now we move on to the last segment of this live session, where we will look at the questions that you have posted for us. There were a lot of questions. However, a lot of the responses have been covered in the important concept discussion. There were 3 unique questions which we thought we would look at. So Dr. Ishita, the first question is, how does the union budget impact our economy?
Okay, thank you, Dr. Neha, for this question. Union budget. So it was announced, and I think many of you have seen what is union budget all about. Now, union budget, it has got a great significance for the economy. So when we talk about union budget, it has a sharp impact on the global scenario and structural changes. Basically, structural changes in various sectors. We have so many sectors. It can be agricultural, industrial, banking sector, and so on. Now, budget is the catalyst. Catalyst for what? For the growth of the entire economy. You must have heard about the plan periods. We had different plan periods. After 12 5-year plan, like after the completion of 12 5-year plans, we came into the Niti Aayog. So the plan period, in the plan period, we have got so many objectives. How can we meet those objectives? It has to come from the union budget. Let's say, for example, it can come from the manufacturing to infrastructure to job creation to rural development. It can be renewable energy resources. It can be any kind of government needs to improve the economy. It can be improvement on the infrastructure as a whole. For example, the national highways, my learners which are seeing now, there were no national highways or the expressways. So how it is budgeted through many things, but yes, it is calculated and it is talked about the defense, then the agricultural sector and the transportation of the agricultural products to the urban sector, for example, from the rural to urban sectors, then any kind of constructions, the job opportunities like the Manreka, is it the right to employment in the rural sector, then the textile, e-commerce, tourism, whatnot, all the things, it is all has to be recorded, and this impacts the Indian economy as a whole. We talk about the national income, we talk about the GDP,
Perfect.
but everything has to come.
Perfect. I think that very beautifully sums up this particular question. So we did speak about the indifference curves, but let's look at this question. And the question is, why can two indifference curves not intersect each other?
Very nice. The indifference curves we were talking about, that means a person is indifferent towards two products, two commodities. And we had taken the example of pastry and chocolate. You can have burgers, pizzas, whatever. But the thing is that an indifference curve is based on the property of transitivity. Now, what is the property of transitivity? That is like, let's say we have three products, A, B, C. Now, if a person is preferring A to B, and again he prefers B to C, automatically we assume that he prefers A to C. It can be that yes, no, and he has to be consistent throughout. Now we were talking about, let's say it is convex to the origin, so we are having the indifference curve, let's say pastries and chocolates, which I'm going by the same example. Now the other indifference curve, which is intersecting, and it is again the burger scheme. Okay. Now when it is intersecting, part of it will be preferred to the previous indifference curve, and the part will be the other indifference curve commodities preferred, which is impossible because you are indifferent towards two commodities, and that property of transitivity fails in this case. So that's the reason indifference curves can never intersect each other. It's a big flaw if it at all does. It can't do.
Perfect. So I think this is very beautifully explained, and learners do remember this very important concept. Okay, let's discuss the last topic, and this was also related to our discussion forum activity. So, Dr. Ishita, if you can just help us understand the LDMU concept.
Okay. So what is LDMU? It is law of diminishing marginal utility. Now, what happens exactly? I'll tell you. Now, let's say I'll give you an example of any food item, and I think my learners, they like burgers, pizzas, etc. So I will just take a portion of, let's say, pizzas. Okay. Now, pizzas, you get a small slice of pizza, and you are terribly hungry. You have worked throughout the day in the college. Maybe you have some fest. So you danced. You made some arrangements. So the first slice of pizza, they gave you some kind of satisfaction, right? So your total utility, and we also take that the utility can be measured. So you can give a number to that. So your total utility, maybe you have given it, let's say the number is 40 for you. So what happens? But you are still hungry. We are not giving you a very small size, but a slice is good enough how you get in any kind of Domino's pizza or any kind of pizza. So a little bit of hunger is gone. When you get the second slice of pizza, you are still hungry because you have worked very hard. But yes, the second slice of pizza will increase your total utility, but it won't be the same as your first slice of pizza because that time you were terribly hungry. So what is happening? You again give some kind of number to that total utility. The total utility is increasing, but it won't be same like what you had got before. So what is, you are actually subtracting the total utility from the second to the first. Third will again give you more satisfaction. So your total utility is increasing. But we say after the fourth slice, or maybe after the sixth slice, so you said you are hungry, you have to. What kind of feeling you will have? It was very uncomfortable. You will feel pukish. You will say, no, I don't want to eat, but we will force you. So what happens? Your marginal utility, that is your change in utility. Initially, it is constant. If we are forcing you to have the, after the fourth one, the fifth one, okay, it's okay, I can have them. But no, sixth one you have to have because you said you are hungry. And you will keep on begging, no, I'm not hungry, but we are insisting. So what is happening? Your marginal utility is falling. It is diminishing marginal utility. You will go to the negative place. Your that change in your total utility will come down. And definitely, and after a point of time, it will be so negative that you may start vomiting, or you may just start hating the person who is just pushing you to have that pizza. This is basically the law of diminishing marginal utility. In a small way, I could just tell you.
Perfect. So great. This is great. I hope the learners have understood these important concepts. We've addressed your questions so far. And with this, we come to an end of this live session. Thank you, learners, for joining us today. Thank you, Dr. Ishita, for giving us these examples and these insights. We hope the learners complete week 1, week 2, participate in the discussion forum. We wish you all the very best. So thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.